All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel, man. Thank you guys for once again tuning in. As you guys can see, we are cranking out another install on the Evo 10 today. This is just some basic maintenance stuff. I will be doing it in the next video. You'll see I'm going to be doing my rear end fluid and the yaw control, and then I'll be going up to the T case to do the T case as well. We've done transmission, we've done oil, so I'm going to match up with the rest of those because my maintenance is coming up on those. This is another maintenance thing today. We're going to be doing spark plugs on the Evo 10. We're going to be showing which plugs you should use, how many times you should be changing these things out, or periodically, like when you should be doing it, and other options just in case you have a built motor and things like that. So all that stuff is going to be talked about today. We do have more than just that. As you can see, I just filled my tank up with my VP jugs. I always keep those jugs, by the way. I do have a bunch of E85 stations around me, but I always keep those because how freaking convenient, right? 30 bucks for those tanks, and I can fill my tank whenever at the house. So I just did that so I can drive to work no problem, not having to stop anywhere, all right? So on top of that, I'll be draining my catch can in a second as well. I'm just doing full preparation because I'm super excited because we did just get something new to the channel. You're gonna be seeing a new little series we got going on. We did just get the Draggy, man. I'm so freaking excited. The GPS Draggy, you guys already know about them. Just like the V-Box, these are extraordinarily accurate. Everyone always asks me, 0 to 60 in this car, quarter mile, all this stuff. I don't have those numbers on this car, right? I daily drive this car. We drive it on the street all the time. Lots and lots of roll races. I'm really curious about 60 to 130 on this car. Point being is we're going to be seeing all these numbers. So today I'm doing my plugs. I just did my oil. I'm going to be doing the rear end fluid and the yaw control in the next video. And then I'll also be doing the T case. We've already done transmission fluid in a previous video and oil changes if you guys want to see how to do those things. But yeah, man, so without further ado, we will go ahead and jump in and do the spark plugs, talk about the different temperatures, the ones you should use, how many times you should be changing these out and when you should be doing it, torque specifications and all that. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright guys, so before getting into this super easy install, it'll only take about 5 minutes to do. I do just want to extend the talk about this Draggy system we got going on here. I'm really excited to get this. As I said, it does 0 to 60, 60, 130, half mile, quarter mile, eighth mile. All this stuff is going to be statted up, and I want to see what the Evo actually does on the street. Not only that, but we'll be starting a leaderboard here very soon, because I will be doing a series of reviews and ripping on cars. I'm not ripping reviews, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to call it, but regardless, I have a ton of different people lined up. I'm extremely excited as well as some of those people to actually see what the cars do on the street. Now I'll create a leaderboard, we'll go ahead and put their 0 to 60s, we'll do the 6130s, and we'll see what we're compared to and what other cars compare to other cars actually on the street in real life. And in the meantime, we'll also review those cars as we're doing it. I hope you guys are excited about that. I'm super pumped up. And we have a Ferrari 488, we have a Lamborghini Huracan, we already have a Viper ACR. Those are just some of the cars that we have lined up for the short future here. Now, if you guys do live in the Tampa Bay area, please email me right here. This is my business email, and hopefully we can get together and maybe do a review on your car. Don't mess with me about your Mazda 3, please, but if you have something cool, a full bolt-on GTR, something like that, message me. Hopefully we can get together and we can actually see some stats and you can get on this leaderboard here at the house. So get excited about that, guys. I'm really looking forward to actually seeing what cars do on the street. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into these spark plugs. Let's talk about the details, and we'll go ahead and get these things installed. Alright guys, so as I said, this is a super easy install. Just to talk about the spark plugs and the tools we're using today, you just need a spark plug remover, obviously, with an extension of some type. I do have my 10mm here, because that's the bolts on the top of the actual coil pack that you'll be taking off. Super simple, obviously. And these are the actual spark plugs. These are the original OEM spark plugs. Remember, I'm almost doing 600 wheel horsepower on this car, and I still use the original temperature. Now, your tuner may suggest something different. My tuner actually suggested just keeping these the same until I bump it up to that next level of power. Some people like to change the heat in these things. I've not had any problems with these ones at all. So all up to the tuner, all up to you what you want to do. If you have a fully built motor, you most likely do want to change your heat temperature with the way you're pushing it. So there's many options. I'll put these options right here. These are some of the other ones that I know that you can change to. Might be suggested by your tuner, or you want to change out yourself. That is that. This also, to note, is the second version of the Evo 10 stock spark plugs. Some of you may know or may not. 2008, obviously, the Evos came out over here in America, and we had the ILKs first. So ILK first, these are DILKs, as you can see. This is a newer version of the spark plugs, and I highly suggest using these ones opposed to the ILKs, which are the first original older version. Couple reasons. As you can see, these ones are 20 bucks a piece. The other ones are $10 a piece, and that's for a very specific reason. I used the ILKs before. Stay away from them. Two of them failed on me. What happened was a little porcelain piece that's in the top of the spark plug actually broke off in two of them, two separate times. It sounded like I was misfiring really hard. I take it out, and it's literally that porcelain piece is broken going up and down, causing a misfire. Never went back to those again. Never, ever, ever had an issue since then either, okay? So I would stay with the DILK unless you want to change your heat temperature, use some of those other options I just said a second ago. Now, as far as cycling these things out and when you want to change these, it is all preference of what you exactly want to do. I change mine out every other oil change. Some people do them every oil change. Some people might extend them every 3 or 4 oil changes. It's all up to you and what you feel comfortable with. I suggest changing them all the time. I'm a very high power car, so I want to make sure that everything's running premium, optimal all the time. My oil gets changed out obsessively, so do all my fluids, and so do my spark plugs, man. I just try to keep it. I mean, we're at 66,000 miles on the car. It's running phenomenal, knock on wood. We haven't had any issues at all, even at this power level. And I want to say maintenance probably has a lot to do with that. So in all the preference that you want to do, every other oil change for myself, I'm doing my oil changes 2,500 to 3,000 miles. I want to say I do my oil changes every time with the AMSOIL. Choose your own oil. You can use the mobile one like we originally used. It's all up to you and what your preference is. Side note too, guys, as you guys can see, I did take my intake off right now. I'm actually changing out to a new K&N filter because mine was 3 years old. I have cleaned it out before. It's just time. I need to get a brand new one. So I am changing that filter out. That's why I took it off for this video. It looks way better, obviously, anyways, without that on there. I'm still using the MAF for my tuning. I'm not speed density. Some people say, how's a car run without that? I've had a lot of messages say that. It doesn't run without that, okay? It's not speed density. It is still on the original MAF sensor, okay? Just changing out my filter, and look how beautiful this thing looks out without it. So can you blame me for keeping it like that, you know what I'm saying? All right, guys, so first bit of advice as you're taking out all the spark plugs, I'll take all of them out at the same time. So what you're first gonna do is unplug them off from the coil pack. If you don't do that and you take out the bolts first, you're gonna end up having a loose coil pack, and then you're gonna be trying to take these and separate these, which can be a pain in the butt sometimes, and you have no leverage against it, so it's gonna be loose goose. Don't do that. Disconnect these things first. All right, now with all 4 disconnected, you're gonna take out your 4 10mm bolts on top. All right, and just to prevent any debris from falling in or anything on a rare occasion, I'm gonna do one at a time here. So you're gonna go ahead and just pull it out, straight out. All right, and there she is, what a beauty, man, looking pretty healthy here. Awesome, awesome, we'll go ahead and change ours out. All right, so fresh one going in. Now, sometimes people do like to put a couple on the bottom threads here, a little anti-seize just in case. I do change these things out so periodically. I've never ran into an issue, and I don't ever put on the anti-seize. You can if you want, but do what you please, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put this thing in hand tight first. All right, so now after hand tight, now you do not have to have a torque wrench, but just in case, I will show you guys today. What I found on my reading is 13 foot-pounds of torque on here, so go ahead and set it to 13 pounds. If you do not, that's a pretty low number, right? You're just gonna be taking your regular wrench and putting it over there after it's hand tight and just giving a little quarter turn, which again is probably about 10, 13 pounds of pressure. So you don't wanna over-tighten it, definitely don't wanna over-tighten it, especially if you're going through heat cycles, because that's when it could get seized in there or you could cross-start. Just don't do that, all right? So go ahead and just give it a little quarter turn if you don't have a torque wrench. If you do, 13 foot-pounds. All right, after it's torque spec down, you're just gonna reach in and put your coil right back on like normal. You have your little 10mm top bolt right here. Now you need to be super careful with these guys. There is a torque specification I'm gonna give you in 1 second. I have snapped one off because I tend to over tighten everything, and that's why I like torque specs the most, is so you don't have this happen. Now if you do break one of these, since I already have, just to pre-warn you guys, if you need it, it's an M6 1.0 20 mil there. As you guys can see, that is the exact ones you'll need. I got a little plethora of them here after I snapped one off. We go ahead and put that back down. Now this is a very light torque spec, as I mentioned, because I literally snapped the head off and had a bolt remove it before. All right, so after it's hand tight down here, again, it does have a torque specification. It's 89 inch-pounds. That is very, very small, okay? Converted over, that's something around 7.5 pounds-ish. Okay, so my torque wrench doesn't even go down that small past 10. 10 is where it starts. So that being said, do not snap the head off. There's no need to extra tighten this thing. Same deal. After it's hand tight, go down like this. A little quarter turn, and you are done, man. 7.5 pounds. Let's get to the next. Beautiful. Another healthy one over here. And when I do say healthy, guys, that doesn't mean that this thing is not too white, it's not too dark. It's like right in the middle, it has a little coloration to it, but nothing wild. There's no oil on it, there's no issues. And that's what I consider being a good spark plug. Hand tight, 13 pounds. Go ahead and put your coil back in. Again, 10 millimeter. Give that 7.5 pounds of torque with your wrist there. Go ahead and put your 10 back in, guys. And remember, don't over tighten it. Just hand tighten a little quarter turn unless you have something that can read 7.5 pounds-ish. Quarter turn. Boom. Now, usually, by the way, as you guys already probably know, is grab that thing by the head and then give a little crank opposed to getting all that leverage on the outside. That way you're not over tightening something that has such a small number. All right, now to the last one. Go ahead and pull our plug again. All right, another healthy beauty over here, guys. Like I said, no blackening to it. No, it's not too white like it's running lean. It's absolutely just a happy medium all the way across the board. Go ahead and swap this bad boy out. There it is. All right, guys, so these things are tricky. Just a little suggestion, if you guys do have a problem where the actual socket that's putting in the spark plug gets stuck, remember there's a little rubber grommet inside there that's holding onto the spark plug, so this is just metal on metal. Sometimes it just pops off. My suggestion is when you actually put it in, you give a little bit of a twist to it as you're pulling it. And when you do that, it typically will grab it a little bit more and you'll be able to pull it out. Just like that. Once again, about 7.5 foot-pounds-ish. All the way down, and a little crank like that. All right, now we're all tightened down, all 4 changed out, everything tightened down, torque spec all the way. Make sure your plugs are all the way back inside when you put them in. All right, dudes, and that is it, man. Spark plugs in your Evo 10, plug and play, super simple. That's when you should do them. That's how you do them, and that is that, man. Hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I hope you guys are all getting jacked up about the Draggy system. I cannot wait to see what this car actually does. Plus a bunch of other cars in the local area and what they do, and starting this leaderboard I've been talking about. Also, guys, MR2 has gotten all its parts in, all its 4 pits and stuff, everything's here. So I'll be doing the rebuild on the K24 engine really soon. I already have my nasty intake manifold here, which I'll be revealing very soon, with installs this week going down, as I said, for the rear end and the T-case fluid on this car. We also have my buddy's blue one back here, one of the local buddies. He's getting some stuff done as well, so stay tuned for that. And the guy with the red one, he's gonna be featured back here very soon. In between, we'll be doing Draggy stuff, we'll be doing the K-series stuff to get this MR2 moving, and Evo stuff in between, man. But I'll leave you guys with a cold start on my car. It does have the Calford C cams. Sounds awesome, sounds amazing. I'm sure you guys will appreciate it, and we will see you guys in the next video.